Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming. It is Christmas season. It is the Boxing Day. The Christmas celebration continues for 12 days. At the end of the 12th day, that's where the Christmas decorations are removed. William Shakespeare wrote a comedy play called Twelfth Night. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra allow the wisdom of the body to function. If you are familiar with the wisdom of the body, it's a great benediction. Body functions in its own way, but we do not allow the wisdom of the body to work freely. When you are not occupied with life, with incoming breath, the being behind is revealed. There is a glimpse. There are two aspects of the breathing, two parts: incoming breath and the outgoing breath. Incoming breath is natural. You do not have to make an effort. But for outgoing breath, which is known as exhaling, which is very important. Through inhaling, you bring the air and along with it the life force or Alan Vaite or Pranavayu into the body, into the system. It circulates throughout the entire body. In the process, when the oxygen is used, the residue remains poisonous gases or carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and other things. These you have to exhale, and that's where the effort comes in. In your kitchen, there is an environment, and when you are cooking food, remember these days kitchen is a part of the living room. It is air conditioned or centrally heated or whatsoever the system may be. When the cooking fumes are released in the atmosphere, there must be a way to exhaust, to remove these. This is part of the exhaling of the kitchen. So we have the exhaust fan. Depending on the space, a certain size of exhaust fan is used. That is also known as extractor fan. In places which are commercially used, like your restroom, in the restrooms, also extractor fan is used or exhaust. This is very important. We do not do anything to bring in. Your air conditioner have filters, so from time to time it has to be cleaned in order for the air to circulate within the area freely and without any problems. When you are not occupied with the incoming breath, the being behind is revealed. There is a glimpse, but the glimpse will become by and by a realization. And once it is known that you have discovered the being, then you cannot forget it. And this is not something that you are creating. That is why it is spontaneous. It is not something that you are creating. It is there. It has been there forever. Simply you have forgotten. It is simply a remembrance, a rediscovery. If you look at the small children, babies sleeping, and how they breathe, they breathe in a different manner. Look at a child sleeping. You will notice his belly goes up and down, not the chest. And when you are breathing through the chest. This is a symbol of shallow breathing, and it creates, when somebody is suffering from asthma or anxiety or anything, the breathing does not go deep. It is through the chest. But if you look at the child sleeping or a baby, his belly comes up and down, not the chest. If you are sleeping and you are being observed, your chest moves up and down, and because of that, the breathing does not go down to the belly. Remember, your solar plexus or the navel center or the belly button is the center, is the place through which you are connected to mother's womb through umbilical cord. It is the life-giving. Through the umbilical cord, when you were in mother's womb, you are getting the nourishment. So it is the one outlet, and the other is mother's womb. The umbilical cord connects the two. You have your house. You are building it. You want many facilities. The first is the electricity or the internet facility. The internet facility is not in your house. The electricity facility is not your house. There are two terminals. The external source of electric supply, the external source of the internet supply, and where you want to bring it. The technicians come and connect it to your wires, or the house is internet ready. It is used the technical term, or electricity ready. So it is there is a power junction where the current comes in, or internet connection comes in, and from there it comes into your house and circulates all around. So umbilical cord is that, the belly button or the navel center is that terminal, and the external is the existence. There has to be a connection between the two. The mother is outside you and you are separate. Umbilical cord connects the two centers. So the nourishment naturally comes from mother's womb to you without any effort. In the same way, through that connection, when the technician establishes that connection, the electric current begins to flow in your house, the internet facility begins to flow, and then you have the internet facility Wi-Fi available throughout the house. You have the television terminals and so on and so forth. So this is very important. In order to nourish and nurture and keep it activated, it has to be hammered continuously. In the process of anxiety, this navel center becomes non-functional. In order for it to function again, your breathing must go deep down to the solar plexus, and this happens when during the sleep or the moments of rest your belly goes up and down. I remember when I was small, we used to go for yoga exercise. After doing each exercise, the instructor will say, now do this shavasana. Shav means dead body. You lie down on your back and the instructor will say, breathe through the stomach. He will simply say, breathe through the stomach. So as one of the participants, I asked the instructor, please explain how to breathe through the stomach. He could not answer. That time I did not know the answer myself. But later on I discovered when you are lying down or sitting or whatever position, first you have to practice it while lying down, then it can happen in any position. You keep your mouth slightly open. The moment you keep your mouth slightly open, in the beginning it may be difficult. Your breathing directly goes into the stomach. In the beginning, the movement will be slow. Then as time goes on and you get experienced, the movement of the breath in the body will make the stomach move up and down in a certain rhythm. With the child, there is no anxiety or anything of that nature. So it naturally happens the moment you put the child to rest, and then the mother will put the child to lie down on the belly. This is one of the way when you are short of breath, you are not breathing properly, there is breathing problems, you are in the hospital, the doctor will put you to lie down on your stomach. He will put a pillow under your head and you keep your hands under the head like this. Under your knees will put another pillows and you are asked to breathe. Because you have not learned the art of doing that, you cannot do so, you have to be put into that position and the breathing becomes natural and it begins to move through the stomach. If you are sleeping and you are being observed, normally your chest will move up and down, and so it blocks and it reaches only up to the chest area and not go beyond that. This is why there is a short breath. When you are climbing or you are doing anything, again the shortness of breath comes in. At that time, if you keep your mouth slightly open and start letting the breath move to the stomach area, there will be relaxation and tiredness will be less. The breath can go down to the belly only if you exhale and do not inhale. So this is an exercise. You have to exhale. Now two things happen. When your breathing is only going to the chest area, there is shortness of breath. It happens because of emotional disturbances. For emotional disturbances, there comes a nasal congestion. It has to be removed. So crying is the way. Through the crying, the tears comes out. Whatever blockages are in the nasal area, they are released. And then you have to hammer your energy from the solar plexus. That can happen only when you use the sound hu, 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 hu. That is where in Islamic tradition we use the word Allah, Allahu, Allahu. The word Allah by itself helps in, because its sound ends in the two syllables A and H. It helps you to move the breathing going down. It is not the word that Allah does any miracle. It is believed by the Muslims that the word Allah does, but it is the sound Ah that does the miracle. And the same way the sound Hu hammers your solar plexus and releases the energy that is there. So exhaling is an effort, inhaling is not an effort. If you inhale and do not exhale, the breath cannot go down to the belly. There will be nasal decongestion. So Osho has created a meditation, whereas all the Sufi, one of my great-grandfather, he used to give people the techniques. So he himself will give a joke. When a joke is given, nobody bothers and they begins to laugh. And they do not bother at all how their face looks and what way they are laughing. But in laughter, and you would have heard if somebody is making too many jokes, you will say, "Don't make me laugh, my belly is hurting." This is a common phrase, but we do not understand the intricacies of it. It is the solar plexus which begins to hammer and the energy begins to rise from there. So nasal decongestion and the energy to rise from the solar plexus are important factors. So during the process of exhaling, when you are exhaling, in yoga there is a particular yoga exercise which is known as Kapalbhati. Kapal means the brain part, skull. So you are hammering, you are simply breathing out. There is a hammer, or as the Sufi terminology is used, zarab. When we are doing certain zikr, the emphasis is on the zarab, the force should be on the solar plexus. Allah, hu, 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 hu. So it is the belly gets activated, which has been non-functional for a long time. So exhaling is very important. The reason why breath goes to the belly is that when one exhales, the whole breath is thrown out and the body takes the breath in. Otherwise, we are bringing the air again and again, but the poisonous air is not being released. So there comes suffocation, there comes shortness of breath, there comes asthmatic problems, and the body takes only that much amount which is needed, never more, never less. Body has its own wisdom. It is wiser than you. Do not disturb the rhythm of the body or the wisdom. You can take more than what you need, then this wisdom is disturbed. If you take less, then again it will be disturbed. So body has its own wisdom. How much air it has to inhale, that only body can determine. Not too many, two people will inhale the same amount of oxygen in their system. It is the body which has to determine. When more is needed, it creates the situation. When less is needed, it creates the situation. It never goes to the extreme, and it happens naturally, and it is always balanced. But if you inhale, it is never balanced, because you do not know what are you going to do, how much air intake is necessary, and how much it is not. Let your body determine that. And because of this imbalance, many breathing problems comes into life. You do not know what is the need of the body, and the need of the body changes moment to moment. You are very intelligent. You may be an IT engineer or a doctor or something, but you do not know. You are not wise like your body. Your body knows how much oxygen to intake in a particular situation. Allow the body to inhale, bring the air into the system on its own, and you simply exhale. You just throw it out, empty out the entire system, and the body will take the breath again. When you are not exhaling, the inner space is getting less and less. Because of that, suffocation and asthma problem comes in. And when you have exhaled the last speck of the air from the body will take breath in, and it will take it deeply and slowly. And then breath will go down to your belly. It will hit navel point exactly, and because of that there will be up and down movement in the belly. This is what happens with the child. If you inhale, then really you never exhale totally, because your focus is on inhaling, not exhaling. Then the breath is in, and you go on inhaling, so the breath which is already in will not allow the breath to go in to the bottom. Then just shallow breathing happens. You go on taking the breath, and the poisonous breath is in, filling you up. You do not move, so this shallow breathing happens. Deep breathing does not happen. Breathing is the connection between life and death. Inhaling and exhaling are the two terminals, 2 points. One is associated with life, the other is death. Death means emptiness. It is said that you have 6,000 sacs in your lungs, and only 2,000 function by your breath alone. We do the zikr, we do the mantra chanting. These are all the devices to allow your breathing to become natural and spontaneous. But out of our asinine wisdom, we think that it is this zikr that is helping us. No. Zikr is the vehicle through which, a medium through which a certain thing's happening. The word is not important. The carrier is not important. It is what it is, the wisdom behind it, that is important. If we understand this, then we can understand Tantra and we can understand the sutras of Vijnana Bhairav Tantra. Why Shiva is telling Devi this particular sutra. 4,000 are always filled with poisonous gases, the sacs in the lungs area, which need to be exhaled. And the 2/3 portion of your chest creates much anxiety, and this that is always full, that creates anxiety, much anguish and misery in the mind, in the body. A child exhales but never inhales. Inhaling is done by the body itself. It is because of the body wisdom. When the child is born, for the first time the child must cry. And when the child cries, his throat opens. With that comes the first sound, ah. If you say the word ah, just sit down, and when you are using the word the mouth opens. With the closed mouth, you cannot create this sound. And immediately, as if that something is going down into your stomach through the trachea, oxygen and air that has been given by the mother is exhaled. This is the first effort of breathing. That is why when the child at the time of birth is not crying, the doctors become uneasy and they slap at the bottom and they make the child to cry. That cry shows now he is becoming an individual. That's why these two systems, they inhale, the crying and the laughter. But there is a third point. When you cry, the nasal decongestion takes place. When you laugh, the energy rises, and between the two comes the point of emptiness. There is silence. So Osho has created this meditation called Mystic Rose. He has emphasized for 7 days crying, 7 days laughter, and 7 days silence. So sometimes the crying is not possible, then you use the word Yabu. Just keep on repeating this word Yabu, 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 Yabu. The nasal decongestion takes place, and when you use the sound Yahu, Yahu, it hammers the solar plexus. Even one day a person came to my great-grandfather, the Sufi, and asked him what meditation he should do. He said, in the evening by the dusk, it is a point where it is called dusk and dawn 2 times. When it is neither day nor night. Night is coming to an end. Day is breaking daybreak. It is known as dawn. When the day is disappearing, the night is appearing, there is a dusk, sun is setting. It's dusk. At the time of dusk, take a shower, find a suitable place, light incense. These are some of the formalities which are told when it is to be done. Otherwise, the man will say, but this is not a prayer. If a Muslim is asked not to use his musalla or prayer mat when you're doing, so there comes a subtle connection between those things. So with Hindus, light a lamp, diya, light incense, use a particular corner. So when you are doing the namaz at home, you use your prayer mat or musalla, and you Muslims do not use the incense normally. So they will go into a particular corner, not the living room where the TV is on, and facing a particular direction, they will sit down and offer their prayers. So these are the formalities which go along with the mind, and mind looks for those formalities and remains engaged in those things. Otherwise, these are meaningless. So he told him, and after, when you sit down, you light your incense, you light your lamp, you cry, and cry loudly. So first day he cried, so his family members thought that maybe he would have remembered something of the past and a pain or death or something there, that's why he is crying. Second day, they again tolerated. Third day, he said, what is this you're going on? Every evening you are crying, and it is considered to be, according to the so-called traditions, that it is a bad sign. At the dusk you are crying. So he said, this is the prayer. Who told you the prayer? My master told me to do the prayer. So it happened, all the children and the family members went to his big brother, the Sufi master, Chachaji's big brother, and he said, what kind of prayer is this? Every day during dusk my father sits down and cries. So in front of them he called his younger brother and he said, what is this? He said his heart was too hard and it was not functioning. The heart center, not a biological heart. So in order to soften this, the crying was important. So these are the techniques that are used to exhale, to generate the normal functioning of the body, to regain the normal functioning. A child is always exhaling, and when the child starts inhaling, when the emphasis moves on to inhaling, be aware. He has already become old. He has learned things from you. He has learned things from the society. He has learned to become tense. So whenever you are tense, you cannot take a deep breath. Your stomach becomes rigid. Whenever you are tense, your stomach becomes very rigid. It won't allow the breathing to go down and it will remain stuck in the chest area. There will be shallow breathing and short of breath, and asthma is the acute situation of that. Then you have to take the shallow breath. Try the sound ah. The last two syllables of the word Allah. It has a beautiful feeling behind it. Whenever you feel tired, say ah, ah. Kind of a cooling effect goes into your stomach through the breath, and make it a point to emphasize exhaling. You will be a different person, a different mind will evolve, and when emphasis is on breathing in, you have developed a miserly mind and a miserly body, the tense mind, the rigid body. With exhaling, this miserliness will disappear, and with this, many problems to possessiveness will disappear. So Tantra will not say to leave possessiveness. Instead it says to change the system of the breathing. You cannot possess them. Observe your own breathing and your own moods, and you become aware. Whatsoever is wrong is always associated with the emphasis that is given to the incoming breath, and whatsoever is good, virtuous, beautiful, true, is always associated with exhaling. Whenever you are speaking a lie, you hold your breath. Whenever you are speaking truth, you do not have to hold the breath. You fear that I am going to tell a lie, you have to hold the breath. Without holding the breath, you cannot tell a lie. You are afraid something may go out with it. So you hold that you are going to tell a lie. You have to be very cautious that nothing is leaked out, that somebody feels that I am lying. So you hold your breath. This is a secret which we do not understand. And if you understand this, these are not, what kind of spirituality am I talking about? But this is the crux of matter. Your hidden truth may be revealed. So you are afraid, and whenever you are afraid, you cannot breathe out. Go on trying this sound more and more. You will be more healthy physically, more healthy mentally, and a different quality of calm, all-isness, tranquility will develop. This was the sutra. Now we will take the second sound, tomorrow's session. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day, as it is the Christmas season. Take care.